and related issues. So Suhasini from The Hindu has asked, China has threatened to take India to WTO over banning of Chinese apps. What is your response? Shankar Kumar from India versus Disinformation has asked, what was the total market share of Chinese apps and how much they used to earn per month and per annum from India? Maha from CNN Network 18 has asked, China has said that India's decision on banning 59 apps doesn't comply with WTO standards or international e-commerce trends and wants India to review the decision. Has anything been communicated diplomatically to China about India's decision and whether at all it's final or these companies will be allowed to make representation to government?
See, on the blocking of these apps, while I would like you to refer you to the concerned ministry for the specifics of your question, I can inform you that India is one of the most open regimes in the world for attracting foreign direct investment. And in the last few years, government has taken a host of measures for creating a more investor-friendly regime. Similarly, in the area of digital technology and internet, India has adopted a very open regime. India is today one of the world's largest markets for digital and internet technologies with more than 680 million subscribers. The world's largest software and internet application companies are present in India. Naturally, while operating in India, they have to abide by our rules and regulations issued by the relevant ministries and departments, including those pertaining to data security and privacy of individual data. While we will continue to welcome foreign investments in India, including in the area of internet technologies, but this will have to be in accordance with the rules and regulatory framework established by the government.
So next set of questions are on West Bank. Jomi Thomas from Malayalam Manorama has asked, what's India's position on Israel's move for annexation of occupied areas of West Bank and the way Palestine has responded by asking the support of the world community for statehood? Anita Joshua from Telegraph has asked, India's reaction to Israel's plan of annexation of West Bank. Suhasini from Hindu has asked, UNSG Guterres, the European Union, UK, Germany and other countries have publicly called for Israel to stop annexation plans, and has India reached out to the Israeli government on this issue? What is government's position on the annexation?
Our position on this is very clear, and I would like to reiterate that the final status issues should be resolved through direct negotiations between the two parties. And we urge the parties to engage with each other to find an acceptable two-state solution for peaceful coexistence.
So next set of questions on remarks by Pakistani leadership. Archana Chaudhary from Bloomberg has asked, Pakistan's Imran Khan has blamed India for the Karachi attacks. Will there be a statement from the government? Sanjeev Trivedi from News 24 has asked, what does India have to say on the charge by Pakistani Prime Minister that Karachi terror attacks were instigated by India?
See, we had already responded on 29 June on the comments made by the Foreign Minister of Pakistan. And similar comments we see from the Pakistan Prime Minister. India rejects these absurd comments on the terrorist attack in Karachi. And Pakistan cannot shift the blame on India for its domestic problems. We would ask Pakistan that they may wish to reflect on this and on their own government's position, including their Prime Minister's description of the global terrorist as a martyr.
So next set of questions are on Nepal-related issues. Shailendra from News 18 has asked, there are reports that state government of West Bengal halted the movement of Nepali cargo trucks at border point. What is your comment to that? Siddhant from Vion has asked, there were reports that Nepali border police stopped embankment work on Lal Bakia River. Are there any further updates to that? Pushkar Bankar from the New Indian Express has asked, Nepal PM has accused India of trying to topple his government. Will the MEA react to this? Narendra Nath Mishra from Nav Bharat Times has asked, नेपाल में राजनीतिक स्थिरता को क्या भारत वहां हाल में लिए गए कुछ फैसलों का परिणाम मान रहा है? Sanjeev Trivedi from News 24 has asked, Prime Minister KP Oli of Nepal has leveled charges on India trying to topple his government. Will the MEA comment on the charge? Have we been able to establish any contact at the diplomatic level with Nepal since Nepal Parliament passed a map that included Indian territory? Maha from CNN Network 18 has asked, Nepal PM KP Sharma Oli has accused India of trying to destabilize his position. How does India react to these allegations?
See, in response to all these questions, I will say that India and Nepal have age-old civilizational ties of friendship, which are rooted in our deep cultural, societal, and cultural linkages. And we remain committed to further strengthen these ties. On the trade-related question, what I'll say is both sides have worked hard and diligently to ensure smooth flow of trade between the two countries. And even during the most stringent COVID-19 lockdown measures in India, we ensured that the trade in goods and supplies to Nepal continued to flow smoothly. On the embankment issue, the repair and maintenance of embankments is being carried out regularly by concerned state governments under established mechanisms.
So next set of questions are on talks between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin. Sridhar from Asian Age has asked, was the situation on China border discussed during the call between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin today? Maha from CNN Network 18 has asked, is the conversation between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin, was there any reference to China and situation at LAC?
See, you must have seen the readout which we have issued after this telephone conversation. The conversation was essentially for Prime Minister congratulated President Putin on the successful celebrations marking the 75th anniversary of the victory in the Second World War. And he also congratulated President Putin on the successful completion of the vote on constitutional amendments in Russia. You would recall that Raksha Mantri had visited Russia recently, and our contingent had participated in the military parade there, which was held on 24th of June. This, Prime Minister recalled, is a symbol of the abiding friendship between the peoples of India and Russia. The annual bilateral summit, which is to be held in India later this year, also came up for discussion. And Prime Minister conveyed his keenness to welcome President Putin in India for the bilateral summit. So this is what I have. The two sides will continue their meetings both at the military and diplomatic level, including under the framework of WMCC, in the future to resolve the issues to mutual satisfaction. We expect the Chinese side to sincerely follow up and ensure the expeditious restoration of peace and tranquility in the border areas as per bilateral agreements and protocols. So this is my readout in response to your questions. The world's largest software and internet application companies are present in India. Naturally, while operating in India, they have to abide by our rules and regulations issued by the relevant ministries and departments, including those pertaining to data security and privacy of individual data. While we will continue to welcome foreign investments in India, including in the area of internet technologies, but this will have to be in accordance with the rules and regulatory framework established by the government.